Hey guys, I hope your day is going well. Nah, fuck, that's bullshit. This is gonna be a blooper, like the blooper bit, you know? Hey guys, what's good? I hope you're having a great day. Dude, also it's so weird starting this because obviously when I'm doing my thing, it's like, you know, it's easy. I'm just talking to the screen. Now I'm talking to somebody else, and I just sound
Yeah.
stupid now.
Dude, I was actually
But
thinking about it. Like, what are you gonna introduce me as, and how are you gonna introduce this whole video? I'm actually excited to see how you do it. I'm very excited. No pressure
I'm
though.
literally, I'm literally winging it. Just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm the first guest on the Brom Squad YouTube channel. My name is Shahid, and Brendan and I are old friends from primary school. It's been about 10 years of friendship, and so something that we've always spoken about actually has been sports, but only recently has it been football. Because when we first became friends, we were actually cricket buddies. So this is gonna be interesting to see the natural progression from a very dull sport to the world's most exciting.
Yeah, dude. So we're going to be chatting about Arsenal today, and maybe a little bit of random generalized Premier League standings and so on. Um, so yeah, I think the best way to start off with is probably with your best player. Um, and I don't know this actually, but I heard that he may have re-signed or may have not. But has Aubameyang re-signed?
He has not. He has not. So from what I'm hearing is he's waiting for a key signing to be announced in order to fully commit himself. Kind of like what Alexis was waiting for. The thing is, Alexis was kind of iffy about the whole Arsenal setup, and you could see he wanted to go to United firstly, but I think once he got there and he saw what's your boy's name? The guy who never scores.
Oh fuck.
Lingard. He saw Lingard twerking first day of practice. He went back. He told his agent he wants to bounce, and he was like, "No, he already signed the contract. He can't go back to Arsenal." But the thing is, the thing about Aubameyang, so he hasn't re-signed yet. He's waiting for a marquee signing. But I think he's going to commit to his future anyway, because firstly, he's the captain of the club, and we're like 3 days away from the start of the league. But secondly, he and his family seem to love Arsenal. Like he's Instagram living with troops from AFTV. His brother's always giving out Arsenal t-shirts. He was on holiday a couple of weeks back, and he was giving out Arsenal t-shirts to everybody who came up to him, and like signed Arsenal t-shirts. So he clearly is a big fan of the club. He likes being there, and his family likes being there as well. And the family has like a huge role to play in terms of players committing their future. And Arsenal are offering him a huge amount of money, and he is 31 years old. So I think he's gonna stay, but he hasn't committed. No.
Okay.
I really want him to, though, because I mean, where else are we gonna get our goals from?
Yeah, true. But do you think he's worth that amount of money? I think it's like £250,000 a week. Do you think he's worth that?
The thing about football is, like, people generally say that no footballer deserves to earn the amount that they earn, and so you have to look at it within the football bubble and to compare him to other players. And Mesut Ozil is earning £350,000 a week to sit bench with an umbrella and go to Turkey on holiday when we're meant to be in the FA Cup final. So if he's earning £350,000 a week, I can't see how the club can justifiably deny Aubameyang £350,000 a week, considering his Golden Boot winner and our highest goal scorer and our best player these last 2 seasons.
Okay. But what kind of signing do you rate like Arsenal could get that would make him want to resign? I see you guys are like holding talks with what's his name? Aouar from Lyon.
Hassan Aouar. I think he's a good player. I don't see us getting him because Lyon wants a lot of money for him. I think Thomas Partey is the signing that'll actually make him stay. But Thomas Partey is a difficult one because Arsenal is being very stringent with their money. But keep in mind, it is the particular transfer period that we're in, where every club doesn't want to spend a lot. And so Thomas Partey, I think, at 45 million is steep under this current set of circumstances. But the thing is, his release clause is 45 million. A player like Thomas Partey, with the experience that he has at such a high level, winning Europa Leagues and La Ligas and playing in the Champions League final, I think he would go for 55, 60 million without a release clause in a regular transfer market. If this was a year ago, that's what his evaluation would have been. But I'd really like to see him at Arsenal, and the only way we're going to get him is if we sell players by the looks of things. And so Bellerin will probably have to go. Martinez, our keeper, will have to go. And those are players that I want to see. So it's a catch-22.
Okay. The thing is, though, I think Arsenal could actually sign Aouar. Okay, we'll start off with that first.
You were interested in him, though.
They are definitely interested, and I wouldn't blame them because he played very well in the Champions League and so on. But see, for me is right. What I've heard is that Lyon are in financial debt. I mean, I read something this afternoon saying that they've accepted a bid from Barcelona for Memphis Depay, and they've literally put a price tag, of 25 million for Memphis Depay, who's done incredibly well. So Lyon, they are in debt because obviously they're not in the Champions League next season, so they've lost all that money, and obviously the coronavirus has affected them.
Are they in Europa? I don't think they are in Europa either.
No. They came seventh, so they miss out on Europa in Ligue 1.
Which don't get 7 new places.
They don't. So the thing is, right? I think if Arsenal, obviously you did say that they are quite stingy with their money at the moment, and I don't blame them. A lot of teams are, except for Chelsea, but we'll get to them later. But I think if Arsenal go to Lyon and say, look, here's 30 million. It's for Aouar. Take it. You need it more than us. The deadline is in like 3 days. If you don't take it, we move on to our next target. And then you move on to Thomas Partey, who has a release clause of like 42 million. You go and you pay that release clause, and you have a great player. Because obviously Partey is the man that can really steady your defense and run the midfield.
Yeah, I agree. See, the thing is, I like Aouar. I was really impressed with him in the Champions League in the 2-3 games I watched him. But I don't think he's essential because we have Dani Ceballos for another season, and Dani Ceballos is a creative player. Plus, we have Willian, who can move into the attacking midfield role. Even though, so if I talk about like a dream signing, the thing that we need the most at Arsenal, I think it is a creative midfielder, because we do have Xhaka, who is a defensive-minded midfielder. We have Guendouzi, if he ever plays for Arsenal again, who's a defensive-minded midfielder. But at the same time, I think Thomas Partey, in terms of the long-term commitment, Arsenal hasn't had a spine for like a decade and a half now. Ever since Patrick Vieira left, we haven't had a spine. And I think that's something that we can build our team around, kind of like how Leicester built their team around Kanté, or how Fernandinho is so essential to Man City. I think we need a really solid player in the midfield, especially with the way Arteta plays, where he wants to play out from the back, and he wants fullbacks to get quite high. I do think we need Partey more than Aouar.
I think that is actually wise, because a lot of great teams, they are built on a player who can hold and run the midfield. So it's a good option, and
Plus, we have Mesut Ozil back by the looks of things. He's a creative midfielder, in which case we don't need Aouar, and we're paying him £350,000. He's not leaving.
The thing is, though, would he not create like problems in the dressing room? Obviously, him and Arteta, they used to play together and stuff, but they kind of had a falling out at the end of last season. Ozil didn't play. He was there saying, I'm not playing because I refuse to have my wages cut and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's gone out and spoken to the press, and that's obviously probably the most disloyal thing you can probably do, apart from move to your crosstown rival. But to
I hear you, but so I listened to a radio interview he did like about 2 weeks back, and in it he said that he and Arteta has no problems. They were teammates, they got along as teammates, they get along now, but his problems at Arsenal are to do with the board, and that the board is trying to push him out, and that the board is trying to vilify him in the media because they don't want to pay the £350,000.
Yeah.
Because they don't think he's worth that, and they know he's not going anywhere because he's earning so much. So he did play in the preseason friendly a couple days back against Aston Villa, but it's just a preseason friendly. It doesn't really necessarily mean much. But at the same time, the fact that he is back, I think it looks good. But at the same time, Ozil is an inconsistent player. He has games where he's phenomenal, but he has games where he's really quiet, especially because he doesn't do anything defensively, and we can't afford to have players not track back defensively. So it's going to be interesting. I don't really know what to think of him anymore.
I genuinely feel though like he is a great player on his day, but his day happens every 3 or 4 weeks. It doesn't happen every time Arsenal step onto the field, and that's also why I would say the board are kind of justified in trying to get rid of him, because I mean, you're paying a player that much money and he doesn't show up, or he's sometimes injured and he doesn't play because it doesn't suit him. So I'm a firm believer of no player is bigger than the club, which is why there's been so many players who I really do like, but they think that they're bigger than the clubs, and I'm like, you're not bigger than the club. You signed for the club didn't sign for you. So I feel like the minute a player oversteps that, there's no going back, really.
Yeah, 100% agree. One of the things about Ozil that I think, so personally, I do want to see him leave, mainly not because of his talent or because of his inconsistency, but I think there's just so much drama around the club constantly, and he's always at the center of it. And I think if he leaves, firstly, it'll alleviate a lot of pressure for our wage bill. £350,000 a week, that's 4 players. 4 good players, 3 great players even. We wouldn't have lost Ramsey if we didn't have him at £350,000 a week, because Ramsey said, you pay Ozil £350,000 a week, I want £250, and I've won you 3 FA Cups. I've been here for like 8 to 10 years. I've been so important to you. I've been your player of the season twice. Ozil had 1 good season when he had 19 assists that year.
Okay. So slightly off tangent, but we're gonna do a little bit of a Premier League prediction here. Okay.
Oh yes.
The only rule is though, it's as the teams are right now. If your player has not signed,
such a hard rule. I stuck to it, but it's such a hard rule.
No, it's not. Because just now the transfer falls flat on its ass and nothing happens. Then you're like, oh, well, actually. So it's because, dude, let's be honest. Manchester United have literally broken through with the Jadon Sancho talks. I'm not going to add Jadon Sancho to the United team. That deal could fall flat on its ass just now. So it's as it goes right now.
Okay, let's go number 20. Who do you got?
I have West Brom.
Oh, yeah, same. I have West Brom. They haven't spent any money, and I don't think they will. I
don't think so either. I think they're going to try do something similar to what Norwich did, but there's no improvements really. So, yeah. I've got West Brom. You've got West Brom.
Number 19, I have Fulham. The thing about Fulham is I really like them as a club. I like their owners because they own a and they're wrestling fans as well. And also the owner shares my first name. There's a lot of reasons to like Fulham, right? London club as well. But I think they're going down number 19. Yeah. Who do you have at number 19?
I also have Fulham, but let me just say something. Fulham have just signed Alfonso Areola from PSG. I do think they'll go down though. But at number 18 for me, might be a bit of a shock. I don't know how you feel, but I have Aston Villa. And for me, right,
going down again.
For me, right, I feel like last season was very close, and they haven't spent much on their defense. They had like one of the worst defenses last season, and they've bought a striker in Ollie Watkins, soon to go through hopefully, but they haven't improved their defense. I mean, they bought a right back, but I mean it's a right back, and he's more known for attacking in Matty Cash from Nottingham Forest. But yeah, I think if they don't make any like good signings or decent defensive signings, I think they're going down. Who do you have?
Do you know who I have at number 18?
Who?
I have Brighton, and do you know why I have Brighton?
Neil
Because
Morphy.
Greg Dorsey earns more than all their players. That's why they're going down. They don't have a good squad. I don't know how they stayed up all these years. They stayed up because of Loose Dunk. And Lewis Dunk is aging now. Like, he was good last season, but they don't have any goals in them, and they aren't buying any players to produce those goals. So I think Brighton, they play really cool football. You know, they have their diamond midfield. It's really cool to watch sometimes when they're on a good day. Like that time they beat Arsenal, and it came out that Guendouzi earns more than all their players. But I think they're going to go down number 18, and I really want to see them go down because they don't bring anything to the Premier League in terms of character or history or special personalities or any particular player that's so interesting to watch, and you want them to stay up just because they're so interesting. And so I really want to see them go 17.
But I have Brighton at 17 though.
Okay, so actually interchangeable because I have Aston Villa at 17. I think Villa has quite a bit of firepower in them. I think Jack Grealish is a really good player, and you have that Egyptian guy. Can't remember his name, but he has a French name. They have him. They have quite a good attack. They have a decent attack. And yeah, Trezeguet. So I think they're good players up front. I just don't think they have the defense to really go any higher than 17. But I do think they have the temperament. Who do you got at 16?
I have West Ham. Have you seen the start of their schedule?
I have West Ham at 16 as well, right? And the reason being is because their start of the season is so intense. I honestly think that David Moyes is going to get sacked. He's going to be the first manager of the season to get sacked. And that's going to leave them stranded for a bit. And so they're going to take a while to recover. And that's why I think 16. But I even consider putting them at 18 in the relegation zone. And I was in two minds between 17 and 16 for them.
But who do you have at 15? Moving along.
So I have Crystal Palace. I just think Crystal Palace is a lower mid-table club. They won't really be relegated anytime. But they don't have many goals in them. AU scored like 9 goals last season. Zaha scores like 7 a season. I don't think they have a lot to offer.
If they lose Zaha, they could be dragged into that bottom 5 team category. Because I mean, it's looking increasingly likely that he's going to go. For me, in 15th, I have Leeds.
That's surprisingly low. This is our first big discrepancy in our picks.
I appreciate their style of football and everything like that, but I think they don't have the players yet. I mean, they have made like 1 or 2 great signings. Rodrigo from Valencia was a crazy good signing. I did not see that coming. I
really hope Rob Holding does go there on a loan, because he's not going to get as much game time as someone of his quality deserves. And I'd rather he go to Chelsea than go to like Newcastle. At 14, I have Newcastle, right? And I'll tell you why. So Newcastle I initially had pegged to be at 17 when I did this about a week ago. But I had to move them up after they signed Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser, because even though Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson were awful last season, the season before that they were great. They were really great. Yes. And I think if Steve Bruce can pull up something like what they were 2 seasons ago, I think their firepower becomes a lot more special. Because right now, Joe Linton is just the worst signing in the whole world last season.
We don't really have to talk too much about this, but I have Palace at 14th. We've already stated everything there is to say about Palace. They're just a really boring team, to be honest. But for me, though, in 13th, and this may be a little bit of a shock, because they did relatively well last season, but I have Sheffield United in 13th.
Nice. Same.
Really?
Exactly the same. Yeah, 13th, Sheffield United.
So for me, right, they've lost Dean Henderson. He's gone back to United. That was undoubtedly one of their best players last season. They brought in Aaron Ramsdale to replace him. I think he's a decent goalkeeper, but I mean, look what happened last season with Bournemouth. They haven't made...
He's too young. He's like 23.
Yeah, something crazy like that though. But they haven't made any like good signings that can try and propel them into, like try and push for that UEFA Europa League spot. And I just think they're gonna struggle. I haven't looked at their schedule or anything like that, but I think teams will be more prepared for them this season, especially because last season a lot of teams were bamboozled by the overlapping centre-back method that's Wilder played. So a lot of teams were like, how do we counteract this? And then at the end of the season, a lot of teams found them out, and that's why they struggled after the restart as well. So yeah, I just think they don't have great squad depth, and yeah, I think they'll struggle a little bit. But I mean, 13th for them is still pretty good.
Yeah. So the thing about Sheffield is, I think their biggest asset is their manager, kind of like Burnley. I think their manager Steve Wilder. I think he's Sean Dyche. He's their biggest asset, and they lost Dean Henderson, who was a great goalkeeper, and he was a very big contributor to the way that they played, because they played out through the back with the centre back getting up quite high, and so they needed a goalkeeper who was confident on his feet, and Dean Henderson is. Yep. And I think that's going to cost them. But at the same time, I think that Sheffield United last season was a mid-table club, and they'll be a mid-table club again this season because of the way that they play. They're very physical. They're very much a Premier League team, just like Burnley is. And last season, the reason why we overrated them in our minds, even though they played and were a mid-table club, was because United and Arsenal had such a bad start, firstly, and Tottenham as well. But secondly, is because they came out from the Championship. We didn't expect them to even be a mid-table club. Everybody pegged them to go down straight away. They were most people's number 20th pick. Yeah. So I think they'll be a mid-table club this season who won't be threatened by relegation and do have the ability to beat the top 6 sides, to beat sides that play in Europe and at times look like they can make Europe. But they're still a small club. They're still a mid-table club. Tottenham.
100%. 100%. I agree with you.
Burnley.
Okay. I mean, it's not too far off me, but I have Newcastle in 12. I have a lot of faith in Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser to improve that squad. So, yeah.
Okay, so at 11th, I have Southampton.
Okay, this is going to be interesting.
So let me tell you why, right? So Burnley is like a natural number 12. I think Sean Dyche will play a similar type of football, very physical, very counter-attacking, but actually a really cool side to watch, even though I don't really... I'll never play with them on FIFA, for example. But number 11, I have Southampton because I think after the restart, I think they were so good. They were a really quality side after the restart. I think they were the top 6 best sides in the entire league. I think Danny Ings, if he produces the form that he had last season, could really push for the Golden Boots again this season. And I think that'll really propel them into number 11. Who do you have number 11?
I have Burnley at number 11. I just think, that they would scrap and fight and do Burnley things, really, and get that
physical football.
Yeah, them and Sheffield United are literally more or less the same side. I hate Burnley though. Yeah. I really wish I could put them as like 20th or something.
I'm always nervous playing them, like always.
Literally. Because that fucking Pratt, what's his name? Chris Wood. Oh, I hate him so much. He will pop up out of nowhere, kick someone in the head, and then score a header and get the goal. That's what he'll do because he's a prick.
Kind of like Mope last year against Arsenal.
Fair goal, fair challenge.
Not only that, like, they have such a good goalkeeper. I think Nick Pope was firstly the goalkeeper of the season last year, even though he lost out the Golden Glove towards the end. But I also think he's the best shot stopper next to Bernd Leno. I think he's an incredible shot stopper. That's going to really give them an edge.
I'm sure he won Golden Glove.
No. Edison beat him towards the end.
Really?
By one game. Yeah, City came back. Edison came from the back and took it.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, I was really big for him, actually. Number 10, who you got?
Okay, well, for number 10, I have Southampton. I think, they're on the verge of pushing for Europe. I was very impressed with them last season, especially after they lost 9-0? 9-1?
Yeah, 9-0.
Especially the way that they bounced back after that. It was insane. Yeah, I'm impressed with them.
They changed the formation and everything after that, though. Like, they changed the whole team. And that's why I was so impressed with them. And that's why I think they're going to do really well again this season. I think they'll continue to do what they did last season after that Leicester knocked them 9-0.
Fuck.
That game is the reason why Jamie Vardy beat them. Ings in the Golden Boot race. If Danny Ings didn't let Southampton lose 9-0, he would have won the Golden Boot.
Dude, that's crazy. Are you serious?
And they're high, right? No, they're high, but I'll tell you why I have them so high. It's because I think Bielsa is going to spy the shit out of every single club, right? The way Bielsa does. And know exactly how to play against every single team. And I think the way that he plays out from the back is very much a very Premier League style of play. But I also think, unlike Norwich, who tried to do it last season, I think Bielsa knows how to do it right, because he did come up with that sort of tactic. But I also think Leeds have the players to do it, especially because now they have Rodrigo, they have more goals in them, and the defense is good. They had a good defense last season, and I think a solid mid-table club. Maybe I'm overrating them, but I really want to see them be a solid mid-table club, and I think 10 is less realistic and more ambitious. I mean, this is the first pick where we're very far off, but I really want to see Leeds be a really good side next season, and I think 10 isn't unfair, because in the Premier League, coaches make a bigger difference than players, and I think they have an incredible coach.
True.
Number 9. I think this is where things start to get interesting for both of us, because we said the same clubs, even though they're in different orders, but the last 11 clubs have all been the same. So let's see who our top 8 is going to be. Our top 9 is going to be. First, Leicester. I mean, shit, I said you first, but then I said mine. I meant to say you first, number 9. But my number 9 is Leicester.
My number 9 is Leicester as well.
Oh, perfect. I was ready. I should have just played it along and read your mind, acted like I did.
Yeah,
okay, let's hear why Leicester number 9.
Okay, well, obviously they fell off a cliff after New Year's Day, when Liverpool slapped them up 4-1, or was it 4-0? It was one of those. I know Liverpool put 4 past them. So they got slapped up, and all their confidence just went out the door as well. And literally from 2020, they just went down and down and down. I mean, flipping Man United were 14 points behind them at the end of January.
Yeah.
And we caught them, and we finished third, because they fucked up. So I think also after the restart they were terrible. So I think maybe this season they continue that bad form, and I just don't see them getting. And also they have Europe, and their squad's going to be so stretched and so tired. So I don't see them finishing higher than 9th.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I put them in 9th for a few reasons. One of them being is that they have Europe, and I don't think they have squad depth to sustain Europe. But number 2 is that they came after the restart with 12 points ahead of 4th position, and then they still lost out on Europe to United and Chelsea. They dropped a 12-point lead, and I think Brendan Rodgers is a good manager, but I think he's a bottler. I think he's a choker. He choked to Liverpool. He choked to Leicester. I just don't think he has the caliber to make a club a great club in the Premier League. I just don't think he's that good. So I don't see Leicester recreating the form that they had at the first half of last season. Particularly, firstly, because they're in Europe, but secondly, because I think their confidence must be in the ground, considering how badly they bottled the league. And also, I would have put them slightly lower. I thought about putting Southampton higher than them, for example, because of how good they were at the end.
Yeah.
But I also think that James Maddison's coming back. A couple of their players are coming back from injury, and that might make a difference. But I also don't think that Jamie Vardy is going to be the player he was last season. I say 15 goals this season.
Yeah,
15 goals.
I would agree.
That's my call.
I would agree with that. Because, I mean, how old is he this season? 34? That's crazy.
I think he's 31. But yeah, he is old. He's an old man.
Well, either way, he's getting a bit long in the tooth.
Yeah.
So number 8. You can go first this time.
I have Tottenham.
Bruh.
I have Tottenham. Yeah.
I have Wolves.
Okay. See, let me tell you why I have Tottenham, right? So I have Tottenham because I think that Mourinho is going to try to do at Tottenham what no manager in the last 30 years has been able to do. Win a trophy. And so I think Mourinho's going to go after the Carabao Cup and try to contest Europa. He won't win Europa. He might win Carabao Cup. But because of that, I don't think Tottenham have the squad depth to be able to be in so many competitions and have games so consistently one after the other. They're far more within a week this season than in previous seasons because of starting so late, etc. And I don't think they have the squad to do more than 8th, especially if they're going to try to win a cup and try to compete in Europa. And I know that Mourinho definitely will. But secondly, one of the rules of this ladder was that we have to pick based on that they currently have the current squad. And even though Mourinho is linked to signing Diego Costa, who I think if he does, it'll make a big difference. They'll go higher, maybe 7th. But I don't think with this current squad he can do better than 8th. And especially because Mourinho says his players are too nice and he hates them because they're nice. That in the documentary that came out the other day. And I think the players are going to start hating him when he gets angry at them because they're too nice.
Okay. Well, I won't say anything about Spurs yet because when I get to them, I'll explain my side of it. But for Wolves, though, I think that they've lost a bunch of really good players. I mean, they lost Doherty to Spurs. Their left back Johnny, he's out for like a good few months, I think, or a good few weeks. I could be wrong. They've brought in 1 or 2 really good players, but I think like they won't do much. I mean, they brought in that young guy from the Portuguese league. I forget his name. I think it's like Fabio Silva or something like that.
Yeah.
He's great.
They record time.
Yeah, he's going to be great, but he's only 19. You can't put that much pressure on a 19-year-old kid. Which also leads me to believe that they could be selling Jimenez within the next season or so. I don't think this season, but I think next season. I don't know. Could be to United, could be to Juventus, could be to anybody. But I think that I really do believe that this kid that they've brought in could be his replacement. So yeah, and also they haven't really strengthened. They haven't strengthened. Like they've lost a right back. They haven't brought in one. They were very thin in the middle last season, and they haven't brought in anybody. So yeah, I really do hope that they make more signings because I really do believe in them as a team. So yeah.
So I have Wolves at 7, right? Which works out. It's 1 higher than yours. But since we're on the topic of Wolves, I agree that they haven't really done enough to strengthen that squad. But at the same time, they're going to be out of the good teams in the Premier League from the last 2 seasons. They're going to be stretched the least because of the fact that they don't have Europe, and I think they value their league position more than they value their performance in the other smaller cups like the Carabao and FA Cup. And so because they prioritize the league so much, I think 7th is a good shout. Also at the same time, I know that they lost Doherty and the other player is injured, but they do have Vinagre, who's a really good fullback.
He's rumored to get sold soon.
He's a good player. I was really excited to see him start for a season because I've seen him come quite often, especially against Arsenal and Liverpool. I watched those 4 games and even United, so those 6 games with Wolves, and he was good in all those games off the bench. But I think their manager understands the Premier League really well, and I think because they aren't stretched too much and they have such good players, I think 7th is a good shout, 3rd season in a row. But also, I know they have been trying to do business because they did try to sign Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but he was promised first team football by Arteta. So he's staying, and so they didn't get him. So I do think they'll find someone else, but they are trying to do business. And based on their current squad, 7th, but I think if they do business, I'll be more confident that they definitely will be 7th. But I don't see anyone threatening that 7th position, and I don't see how they'll get higher.
So at number 7, I have Everton.
Okay, that's the dark horse.
That is the dark horse, because for me, I'm putting them at 7th, but they could literally go anywhere between 7th and 5th. But let me just say, okay, so they've brought in basically a whole new midfield. James Rodriguez is going to be at the top. He's going to be the focal point of Everton next season. I love James Rodriguez. He is one of my favorite players. I just don't think he can make it in the Premier League the way he's done it in Germany and in Spain and Portugal and all those other leagues that he's played in.
Why do you say that?
it'll be interesting to see what he can do, but I just don't think he can do it. I don't think he can replicate, because obviously Premier League is another league of defense and hard hitting players and stuff, and I just don't think he can do it. But I hope he proves me wrong, because obviously I love him to bits, and I'm really happy that Everton signed him. I'm really happy he's going to get game time, because obviously in Madrid he was bench player, second thoughts, third fiddle, however you want to put it. And then obviously they've signed Alan from Napoli, great player. I mean, 2 seasons ago he was rumored to go for like 100 million to PSG, and I don't know, that was like the dumbest thing I've ever heard, ever read. But yeah, he was rumored to go there, and he goes to Everton for like 30 million. And then obviously they signed Decore. Now for me, okay, Decore was relegated with Watford last season. And normally Premier League teams that go down, they go down because their midfield is weak, or something along those lines, because obviously a football game is won and lost in the midfield. And I think a few seasons ago he was amazing, but I think last season he was just a shadow of himself. So I do question that signing a little bit, but I think if he works out, he'll be great. So yeah, I have Everton in 7th. So who do you have in 6th?
So I have Everton in 6th, and for very similar reasons, right? Well, firstly is that I think the fact that they don't have Europe, and that let's be honest, Everton aren't going to win any trophies this season, but because they've strengthened their squad so much, I think there's a lot of confidence with them. Plus they have Ancelotti, who's an incredible manager, and he has a lot of success in the Premier League. He really understands the Premier League. So considering they have Ancelotti, and they brought in James, they brought in Decore, they brought in Alan, I think 6 is a good shout. But not only that, I think they have no weaknesses, like no real weaknesses in their squad. I think they're a very classically 6th side. I think they have the 6th, and even like you said, they could be anywhere between 7th and 5th, and I agree with that, right? Because in terms of goals, I think they have quite a good number of goals in them, because they have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who could easily get 15 goals a season for a change, considering because the whole team last season had like 40 goals in them, 45 goals. It's all they scored the whole league. So I think now that they've strengthened the midfield, Dominic Calvert-Lewin could get 15, Richarlison could get 15. They have Corey, they have Walcott, they have Alex Iwobi, they have Bernard, they have good players. They have their new signings as well, who can goals, and I think they have enough goals to win games, but at the same time they have a defense that will allow them to draw the games that they would ordinarily lose, like against City.
Yeah.
And so I think 6th.
Okay.
Okay, so you have Tottenham at 6th, right?
I have. Well, now I just want to change it just because you said that. But yes, I have Tottenham in 6th.
So you do have Tottenham in 6th.
I do.
Thank God, dude. I'm better Arsenal.
So I have Tottenham in 6th. They I very much agree with with what you said. I think Jose's going to go for a title this season. He's going to win them something. But I feel like they will finish above the likes of Everton and Wolves. And like you say, Jose said that, his team is too nice and so on. But the thing is, the player that he brought in from Southampton, Højbjerg or whatever, that man knows how to fucking knock an O and win the ball back in midfield. He's literally a Jose signing.
They are very stable defensively in the midfield, because they also have Dembele. Dembele? Not Dembele. What is it? It's Sissoko, Musa Sissoko, and Ndombele. And they are quite defensive players. Plus they have Harry Winks, who's a defensive player.
I disagree though. I think Ndombele is like Pogba. He can create in front of him, but he's not like a good guy going backwards. Sissoko,
more like a box to box.
Yeah, like Sissoko also, more of a jack of all trades. He can do a bit of everything, but you can't tell him, I need you to defend for 90 minutes, because I don't think he can do it. Same with Harry Winks. I think he can defend. He's like a Scott McTominay of Tottenham. He can do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But if you give him that job as a permanent thing, he's going to fuck it up. So I think Højbjerg coming into that side, and obviously Matt Doherty. Matt Doherty assisted a lot of goals last season. I think it's in terms of right backs, I think he was second to Trent Alexander-Arnold, or it could have been third. I might be fucking up with my stats there, but so who do you have in fifth?
Okay, so you're not gonna like this because I know we have these clubs interchangeably, right? So let's just do at the same time, and because I think the order is actually going to be different.
We'll go
fifth, I have
three.
United. Fourth, I have Arsenal. You?
Fifth, I have United.
So we're around, right?
Nope.
Oh, same as me.
Fifth, I have United. Fourth, I have Arsenal.
Wow. Okay, this is unexpected. This is so unexpected. Okay, I actually want to hear you first. Why do you have Arsenal higher than United?
Or why do I have United in fifth? Okay, let's go from the top. So the squad we have right now is trash. Okay, we've signed Donny van der Beek. Wait. Come on, wait now. We signed Donny van der Beek. Great signing. Good squad depth. Okay. But we don't have a backup left back. Brandon Williams, he could be a good left back, but he's right-footed, so it kind of hinders him a bit. Unless he gets really good using his left foot soon, I don't think we have a backup left back. We are linked with two left backs, I think. But yeah, we don't have a backup left back. Our centre back partnership is terrible. Lindelof and Maguire, they cannot play together. They're both slow. I mean, obviously Lindelof's faster than Maguire, but they're more or less the same player. So, and they're both right-footed, which Ollie, if he wants to play from the back, he's got to get a left-footed centre-back. So there's that. De Gea, there's a bit of problems with De Gea, but I feel like he could bounce back this season, especially with like pressure from Dean Henderson, which I kind of don't like, because I feel like a goalkeeper position, you need to have a number one and make sure that he's your number one. You have to have complete confidence in the guy. But so yeah, there's that. And then obviously our right-hand side, that right wing position, we don't have a right wing. I mean, Dan James can play there, but he's so inconsistent. Obviously, it's his first season in the Premier League. People are jumping up his arse because,
he was really good last season.
No, hang on. I'm getting there. Calm yourself. So Dan James, not a great right wing. Mason Greenwood can play there. I mean, he was just given the number 11 jersey the other day, which is really great. But the thing is, though, he's only going to be 19. You can't burn out a 19-year-old kid. Like, you'll literally kill his career. So I think we do need to make a signing there, and I think Sancho will be that guy. I'm not sure, though, more or less, but I think within the next 2 weeks it could happen. And then, obviously, Martial, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba are great. But then there's that other position where Matic plays. Obviously, Matic is what, 32, turning 33, so he's old. McTominay, he can play there, but he can't play there at the same time. Fred, he's great. I think he could be that guy, but at the same time, he hasn't really proved it. He did have a great season last season, but yeah. And then obviously we lack depth, so there's that. And then obviously Arsenal, they've won a few trophies. Arteta looks like he's actually a real deal. I think, if Arsenal continue to back him and bring in the players that he wants, I think you guys could definitely do well. I mean, he got you guys 2 trophies with the squad you had last season. No offense, but the squad you had last season was trash. Apart from your top front 3, like the rest of the squad was trash, and even sometimes your front 3, apart from Aubameyang, was trash. So I feel like if everything goes according to plan for Arsenal, they get their players in, they get a Thomas Partey, or they get a Noah or something like that. Maybe Ozil comes back and starts producing. I think they'll finish 5th, push on 4th. Who knows?
I agree. So like the thing is, I think United have a better squad than Arsenal, but Arsenal at 4th and United at 5th because I think Arteta is a better coach than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think he's a better tactician. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a really good man manager. I'm really happy under him, but I don't think he's the greatest tactician. I don't think he adapts his gameplay too quickly with different, other than both City games where somehow he became this genius coach, right? Outside of that, he doesn't really outthink his opponents too much. Whereas Arteta has shown in a short space of time that he does outthink his opponents, and he does it. He also seems to be far more ambitious than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think that ambition and the demand he'll play in the squad will push us further, even though we don't have better players. But I think Arteta knows how to get the best out of the players that we do have. The thing about United is I think they have a lot of options in up front. I think Fred is a good defensive midfielder. Pogba is a great box-to-box midfielder. Van de Beek is a great box-to-box midfielder. And you have Bruno Fernandes, who I think next season could really, really knock on the door for player of the season because of how good he was this just past season. He came to United and like seamlessly integrated himself into the Premier League. I think he's going to be an incredible player next season. And Rashford and Martial have come into their own. I think Greenwood's a really good player. Actually, I do think Dan James is a good right wing coming off the bench. I don't think he's good enough to start.
I agree.
I think Greenwood is good enough to start, but if we look at what happened to Martial, where he was good enough to start, but there was just too much pressure on him, and so he never ever had this incredible season yet. He hasn't had that, and he's been 4 or 5 seasons in the Premier League already. Sorry, not Martial, Rashford. I think the fact that there's a lot of pressure on him means that even though he is good enough, people constantly undermine how good he is because of the fact that they're expecting too much, and they shouldn't expect too much from someone so young. And I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how to deal with that sort of press drama. Jose didn't know how to deal with it either with Marcus Rashford, but I think he did a better job than Ole. And even though Marcus Rashford's been better under Ole, but because Arteta is the main man, I think Arsenal 4th. But something I was meant to mention earlier that I think is important to mention is I really see the top 8 or 9 clubs being miles ahead of the bottom 11 or 10 clubs. I think it's going to be a very top-heavy season. I think it's going to be the biggest gap between talented clubs. They're going to be the most clubs ever contesting for those European top 7 places. But I think they're also going to be the most clubs ever seriously contesting for that Asian places. And that's going to make it very interesting, but also slightly uncompetitive.
I really don't want another season like last season where Liverpool just ran away with the league. Because to me, it was like, okay, that's cool. You guys win the league. We'll fight for 4th and 3rd and so on. But
I don't think we will, though. I don't even think it'll be a 2-horse race. I see it being a 3-horse race with our top 3.
Okay, so who do you have in 3rd?
I have Chelsea. Who do you have?
I have City.
City. Okay, interesting. Okay, this top 2 is gonna be interesting. Let's talk Chelsea quickly because I really want to know why Chelsea's higher than City. But okay, so Chelsea have had the single best transfer I have ever seen, and will probably see in a very long time. Right? Yeah. It's an incredible transfer in the team of Werner, Hakim Ziyech. Yeah, it's Madrid-esque, right? But even better than that. The thing is, they took the money that they got from Courtois and Hazard. They haven't been spending these last 3 seasons other than Kovacic, and they really put it to good use. And they have an owner who really wants to win things. He's an ambitious owner. And I think Chelsea looked so scary because all the weaknesses that they had last season, they're fixed with, other than maybe like another centre-back. But I think the fact that they're Thiago Silva, I think they'll be fine, more or less be fine, even though he's old. They got the wing-back that they needed. But their midfield in terms of competition is just incredible, right? But how I see Chelsea line up next season with Timo Werner as the centre forward, Pulisic and Ziyech on either side of him, and Kai Havertz in the middle with N'Golo Kante and Kovacic, who was actually the best player last year, behind him. I think that midfield and that front 3 is going to do so much damage that they are 3rd. The reason why they're not higher than City, though, is because I just don't think they strengthened in the one area they needed to, and that's the manager.
The manager?
I don't think Lampard's better than Pep. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, I forgot about that. They don't have the goalkeeper good enough to be top 2. That's clear as daylight. But also beyond that, I don't think Lampard is better than Pep as a tactician. And even though he got good results out of his young players last season, I think there's going to be a lot of disgruntlement in the squad because those young players who are starters aren't going to be the stars that they thought they'd become the season after.
Okay. Well, so for me, City, third. Their defense is still bad. I don't care. You can go spend 100 million on Nathan Ake, and I don't think he's going to improve the defense. They bought him as a backup for Laporte. That's what they did. They bought him as a backup. They're still going to have Laporte and Otamendi, or Laporte and John Stones playing in the middle. So it doesn't really do anything. And okay, their wing backs are sorted, kind of. I mean, that left-hand side got considerably weak last season. I mean, Zinchenko, not a great defender, not as great as what we thought anyway. Bendy, not a great defender. He's a good showboat man, but he's not good at defending. In the middle, I think they're really set for the middle. I think Foden will be a great player for the future. And he is a great player currently. So they don't have to worry about replacing him with replacing David Silva, because they've got him. And then obviously up front, they lost Sane, but they have brought in Ferran Torres, who's I think he can be a great player. I don't think he'll be Sane level, but I think he'll be a good player. And obviously Aguero coming into the season, I think he's going to miss the first few weeks of the season, obviously because he hurt his knee last season, so he hasn't had much time to try and recuperate and everything like that. So obviously Jesus will be starting up front, and I think Aguero is on another level to Jesus. I think, honestly, personally, I think Aguero is the best striker in the Premier League. If you say to me Aubameyang on his best day versus Aguero on his best day, I think Aguero wins. Not comfortably, but I think Aguero does win.
I agree. So the thing, I think, I actually have a question. Where do you think, I know the rules of the game is that we pick on the current squad, but if Man City sign Koulibaly, where do you think they'll finish?
I think they'll finish above Chelsea.
Okay, that means Chelsea second for you.
I didn't say that.
Okay, cool.
Wait,
you don't think they can win though with Koulibaly?
I think it's a toss-up between them and Liverpool if they sign Koulibaly, because Koulibaly's a great centre-back. I would love him at United, but Koulibaly fits Man City like a glove. He's a right-footed centre-back, comfortable with the ball, pacey, tall, strong. He's everything. He's literally perfect for them. So I do think if they sign Koulibaly, they could be second or first.
I honestly think if they do sign Koulibaly, I think he will fit into City more seamlessly than Bruno Fernandes fitted into United. And that's a high bar. That's a really high bar. I think he'll be the best centre-back in the league, better than Van Dijk next season, because of how well he fits into City and how much more City need him right now. But at the same time, I don't know if they have brought back Angelico from Leipzig.
They sold him.
Left back there on loan. They sold him. Oh shit! Oh, never mind. I was gonna say that he could be the answer.
Nah, they sold him, man.
Okay, interesting. So I actually have City at second, because of those reasons. Because I think City have the most goals in them, and they will next season. I think they'll have more goals in them than Chelsea, but I also think they do have slight weaknesses. I think Ferdinand, they rely on so heavily, is getting older, even though he's still going to be good this season. I think Rodri's good, but I think they do need a defender to come in. They need Koulibaly really badly, and if they don't bring in Koulibaly, then second is where they'll stay. And just because of the number of goals that they have, in the fact that they have Kevin De Bruyne, who is the second best player in the world right now after Lewandowski, I think second. I think they'll above Chelsea. Yeah. Who do you have a second? I want to hear winners.
Before I give you my second, do you think City can win the Champions League next season?
I want them to. I think because they have so much pressure to win it, and Pep has done it before, I think, but I don't think they will if they don't sign Koulibaly, because I think Bayern Munich are going to repeat it and Liverpool are going to come all guns blazing. Those two teams are going to be up there.
For me in second, I have Chelsea. I can just if there are a few people that do watch this channel that are Chelsea fans, they're gonna literally roast me. But I do have Chelsea. But in saying that, they've signed 8 players. They're looking to sign 10 players. They're looking to go after Declan Rice and this other guy from Stade Rennais, I think. It's their goalkeeper that they want. But they've signed 8 players.
Oh yeah,
okay?
so they need him.
They do need him. But I think 8 players is very risky because if you don't integrate them and get them going in the squad, I think it can cause a lot of problems. Like you were saying, like there's going to be a lot of young players that were playing last season, like a Mason Mount or Tammy Abraham, who are there like, but you said that we could start and you promised us a Chelsea future, and here you are buying somebody like Timo Werner to take my place, or Kai Havertz. But in saying that again, it's literally up in the air for me because I couldn't decide between second and third. But if I'm looking at their positive side, if their front three can all produce and if their midfield can produce and there's no problems, I know you're asking for a miracle there because there will be. I think that they can finish second, even with a shaky goalkeeper like Kepa. I think an experienced player like Thiago Silva coming in, I think he can literally maybe settle that back four, because obviously that back four last season was atrocious. He can settle that back four, and that will instill confidence in Kepa or in the next goalkeeper, whoever the fuck they bring in. So I do think that they can finish second. But yeah, some of the signings that they have made though haven't been great. I mean, I don't rate Ben Chilwell. I think he's just another Marcus Alonso, and I'm being honest. Because he can't defend.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I agree. He's not very good defensively, but he is very good offensively. And they're good defensive, but I do think it wouldn't hurt considering they have a lot of good defensive players like Kante who can drop back and really help clean things up. Especially because they're going to be very possession-based. And because of that, I don't think their defense is going to be tested other than the very best teams like City, Arsenal, United.
Yeah, Liverpool don't
I
get
think
Liverpool.
they'll steamroll the rest of the sides. They're going to steamroll West Brom, Fulham, Brighton, Aston Villa, West Ham, Crystal Palace. These are wins almost definitely for them. And that's kind of scary. But I do. The reason why I put them as third is, like you said, they have trouble integrating so quickly.
So yeah, obviously that leaves us with Liverpool winning the league. But for me, there's a condition. There's a condition that Liverpool have to do first. And I know I said it's as the teams are right now, but for me, I just think they're going to sign Thiago. They're going to sign him. Like, if Wijnaldum leaves for Barcelona, okay, I know I'm breaking the rules here and going against it, but if Wijnaldum leaves, they're 100% signing Thiago Alcantara. And if that happens, it's no longer going to be a front three that scores goals and a hard-working midfield. It's going to be a front three that scores goals, 2 hard-working midfielders, and a man who can fucking produce, I don't know, rabbits out of his arse on the field and just spray passes. And you're going to see Salah, Mane, and even Firmino running behind the defense because that's how good this guy is. So, yeah, I can see Liverpool winning the league, and I'm sad to say it.
So the reason why I have Liverpool number 1 is, so firstly, I did play by the rules. I didn't include Thiago in my rationale. But I also didn't include Wijnaldum leaving, but I did think about what happens if Wijnaldum leaves and they don't sign Thiago. Because when I was making the log, I was thinking about players they could buy and not thinking about players who would leave. And so in my mind, if Wijnaldum left, it wasn't against the rules because they hadn't bought a player, they just lost one. And Wijnaldum last season didn't have a single goal and a single assist, even though he did do what he was asked to do. I think if he leaves, Naby Keita would fit in there. That would be a lot.
You're breaking
changed up Liverpool team, especially because the tail end of last season after they. Sorry, can you hear me?
Just repeat what you were saying. Sorry.
I was saying that if Wijnaldum does leave, then Keita comes in. And I think it makes things fall because Keita is a creative player. He's a dribbler. He's an attacking threat to many degrees. And
Yeah.
so I think Firmino can go a little high up and doesn't have to be that false nine. He can actually be a real centre forward that scores goals. And he does have it in him. It's not his role to. And so there'll be 3 attacking front with Keita creating in the midfield. And they have their wing backs last season had 25 assists between them in the league alone. And so I think with them coming across, I think Klopp will find a way to motivate them again, even though they looked like trash at the end of last season. But because they are going to be motivated again, I think they are going to be the best team, especially because of how in transit every other team seems to be. They're the only teams who are stable, and that's going to really do a lot. And if they do sign Thiago, then I think they could win the Champions League as well. Maybe a double. Do you have his golden boot? I just have last question. Golden boot. Who's your shout?
Oh, it's so hard. There's so many good strikers. Like there's Aubameyang, there's Timo Werner, there's not Aguero. I think Aguero will miss too much time. There's Martial. I think he can really kick on this season.
Salah and Mane?
Yeah, of course. There's Salah and Mane. There's Danny Ings. Don't forget about him.
I think Jimenez could be a breakout star in that race.
No, I don't think. I think yes, but no.
16 goals last.
Yeah, he played very well. But I'm gonna back my log here and say Timo Werner, especially if he scores and wins Golden Boots. I think he will. I think Chelsea will finish second.
So I actually have Aubameyang, and I know I'm an Arsenal fan, so of course I have Aubameyang. But at the same time, I think because, especially if we sign Partey, he'll have less defensive duties. He'll be able to do more and be more of a goal threat. But at the same time, he scored 21 goals or something like that. He was 1 goal off the Golden Boot last season, and we had Emery as our staff. And once Arteta came in, he was the highest goal scorer in the league for that duration of games. So I think with Arteta, the fact that everything's so stable, motivated and happy, and we have a more attacking type of play whilst we're still very defensively solid. I think Aubameyang 5 goals, and I think that'll be enough to win him the Golden Boot.
We're gonna actually end the episode there though. So if you guys have made it this far in the episode, I appreciate it. I'm sure Shahid appreciates it too.
Thanks for having me on the channel.
But thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know, the road to 1,000 subs is on its way. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.